Haribol, Haribol, Haribol,
Yeah,
Haribol.
I can hear it here. So it should be okay. But we'll check on. We're online now, so when we start, make sure it just the sound there. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
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 Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari
Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana
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 Jamuna Tira Vanachari
Jamuna Tira Vanachari
Jamuna Tira Vanachari
Jamuna Tira Vanachari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari
Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana
Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
So we're reading today from the Srimad-bhagavatam, 8th canto, 8th chapter, text 12 through 14. So this verse we'll chant is verse 12. And the chapter is called
Churning of the Ocean of Milk.
The Churning of the Ocean of Milk. Yes. Rishaya Kalpayang Chakrur
Rishaya Kalpayam Chakrur
Abhishekam yata vidi.
Abhishekam yata vidi.
Jagur Bhadrani Gandharva.
Jagur Bhadrani Gandharva.
Natyascha Nanritur Jagu.
Natyascha Nanritur Jagu.
Rishaya Kapayang Chakrur.
Rishaya Kalpayam Chakrur.
Abhishekam yata vidi.
Abhishekam yata vidi.
Jagur Bhadrani Gandharva.
Jagur Bhadrani Gandharva.
Natyascha Nanritur Jagu.
Natyascha Nanritur Jagu.
Rishaya Kopayang Chakrur.
Rishaya Kalpayam Chakrur.
Abhishekam yata vidi.
Abhishekam yata vidi.
Jagur Bhadrani Gandharva.
Jagur Bhadrani Gandharva.
Natyascha Nanritur Jagu.
Natyascha Nanritur Jagu.
Close up right into the microphone.
Rishaya Kalpayam Chakrur.
Rishaya Kopayang Chakrur.
Abhishekam yata vidi.
Abhishekam yata vidi.
Jagur Bhadrani Gandharva.
Jagur Bhadrani Gandharva.
Natyascha Nantu Jagu.
Nanyascha Nanritur Jagu.
Rishaya Kalpayam Chakrur.
Rishaya Kopayang Chakrur.
Abhishekam yata vidi.
Abhishekam yata vidi.
Jagur Bhadrani Gandharva.
Jagur Bhadrani Gandharva.
Natyascha Nanritur Jagu.
Natyascha Nanritur Jagu. Word for word. Rishaya,
Rishaya,
the great sages.
the great sages.
Kalpayam,
Kalpayam,
Kalpayang Chakru,
Kalpayam Chakrur,
executed.
executed.
Abhishekam,
Abhishekam,
the Abhishek ceremony,
the Abhisheka ceremony,
which was required during the installation of the deity.
which is required during the installation of the deity.
Yata Vidi,
Yata Vidi,
as directed in the authorized scriptures.
as directed in the authorized scriptures.
Jagu,
Jagu,
chanted Vedic mantras.
chanted Vedic mantras.
Bhadrani,
Bhadrani,
all good fortune.
all good fortune.
Gandharva,
Gandharva,
and the inhabitants of Gandharva Loka.
and the inhabitants of Gandharva Loka.
Natyaha,
Natyaha,
the women who were professional dancers.
the women who were professional dancers.
Cha,
Cha,
also.
also.
Nanritu,
Nanritu,
very nicely danced on the occasion.
very nicely danced on the occasion.
Jagu,
Jagu,
and sang authorized songs prescribed in the Vedas.
and sang authorized songs prescribed in the Vedas.
Translation. The great sages performed the bathing ceremony of the goddess of fortune as directed in the authorized scriptures. The Gandharvas chanted all auspicious Vedic mantras, and the professional women dancers very nicely danced and sang authorized songs prescribed in the Vedas. Repeat after me. The great sages
The great sages
performed the bathing ceremony
performed the bathing ceremony
of the goddess of fortune
of the goddess of fortune
as directed in the authorized scriptures.
in the authorized scriptures.
The Gandharvas chanted
The Gandharvas chanted
all auspicious Vedic mantras,
all auspicious Vedic mantras,
and the professional women dancers
and the professional women dancers
very nicely danced
very nicely danced
and sang authorized songs
and sang authorized songs
prescribed in the Vedas.
prescribed in the Vedas.
Okay, and there is no purport there. So I'll chant the next verse in translation, which also has no purport. Mega mridanga panava mura janaka gomukan Vyanadayam Shankya Venu Venus Tamula Nishravam. The clouds in personified form beat various types of drums, known as mridangas, hanavas, marajas, and anakas. They also blew conch shells and bugles, known as gomkulas, and played flutes and stringed instruments. The combined sound of these instruments was tumultuous. And next verse. Tatobi Shichor Deving Shriyam Padma Karam Satim Tikiba Purna Kalashai Sukha Vakyar Dvijeritai. Thereafter, the great elephants from all the directions carried big water jugs full of Ganges water and bathed the goddess of fortune to the accompaniment of Vedic mantras chanted by learned brahmanas. While thus being bathed, the goddess of fortune maintained her original style with a lotus flower in her hand, and she appeared very beautiful. The goddess of fortune is the most chaste, for she does not know anyone but the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. The goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, is described in this verse as Shriyam, which means that she has 6 opulences: wealth, strength, influence, also called fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. These opulences are received from the goddess of fortune. Lakshmi is addressed here as Devi, the goddess, because in Vaikuntha she supplies all opulences to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his devotees, who in this way enjoy natural life in the Vaikuntha planets. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is pleased with his consort, the goddess of fortune, who carries a lotus flower in her hand. Although Lakshmi is described in this verse as Sati, the supremely chaste, because she never diverts her attention from the Supreme Personality of Godhead to anyone else. Om Ajnana Timiranda Shakanajana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So, what's being described here, or part of what's being described here, is the Abhishek ceremony. We do Abhishek ceremonies on certain festival days. We'll have them when Janmashtami comes up. We'll have it when Balaram's appearance day comes up. We'll have it when every festival basically we have Abhishek ceremony. It's a bathing ceremony, following, as far as we can do, following the Vedic traditions. And it's not clear here whether they're seeing the goddess of fortune. Is she there in a very, appearing person, living or personal form, or she's appearing to them as deity. Here they're actually doing the whole bathing ceremony for her. So as Srila Prabhupada doesn't specify. In any case, the deity is non-different from the deity of Krishna, or in this case, the deity of the goddess of fortune, are actually non-different from that personality. We may or may not have the level of realization of the position of such deity. As we see our Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, and Radha Krishna, and Jagannath Balaram Subhadra. So we see them, but we may not be in a position that we can, talk with them and have, as we speak with with each other. A perfectly pure devotee will be able to, of course, but the rest of us not necessarily. So, but in any case, the bathing ceremony is there. But even in Krishna's presence, I mean, when Krishna appeared in Vrindavan around 5,000 some years ago, sometimes on his birthday, and of course everyone saw Krishna as he was there, as in a personal form, and having a personal loving relationship with him, but they would actually have a bathing ceremony. Krishna would sometimes Mother Yashoda, when his birthday came, she would say, "Okay, everyone else can go out to the field and take care of the cows. You have to stay back today. You have to stay back today because all the elderly members of here, your parents, your grandparents, your other relatives, other inhabitants of Vrindavan who were present there, they were going to be there, and they actually had a bathing ceremony. They would have him sit down, and they would bathe him with so many different ingredients. It's the same way we do in our ceremony here. They did it personally for Krishna there on his birthday. So it's not just a matter of bathing, becoming clean. It's a matter of bathing. It's a ceremony. It's a very auspicious activity, and here there's the translation is that the Gandharvas are demigods, demigoddesses, and they are especially known among the demigods. They're especially known for their ability to sing. Each different demigods have different specific specialties. So the Gandharvas, they can sing very nicely. So here, at the appearance of the goddess of fortune, and they're doing the ceremony, welcoming the Abhishek ceremony, and they are chanting these very auspicious Vedic mantras. They're not singing. They're not singing, local pop music, if there was such a thing at that time. They were not singing like that. They were singing. They're singing songs and prayers and so on that was very appropriate glorification of Krishna, or it was very glorification of goddess of fortune, like that. They're authorized. It's not something made up. So that's why it says they were chanting all auspicious Vedic mantras, and the dancers and the professional women dancers very nicely danced, and they sang these authorized songs prescribed in the Vedas. When we do an Abhishek ceremony, of course we're always having kirtan. So these are authorized songs. It's the same principle. We're singing authorized songs. We don't sing something unauthorized. We sing the songs that have been traditionally handed down through the disciplic succession. And when we do fire sacrifice, it's the same thing. We chant mantras. say so many mantras glorifying the Lord's pure devotees, glorifying the Lord's incarnations, like that. This is our path, and at least in the past, when we had fire sacrifices and we got more devotees were involved, then it wasn't just the priest who was chanting the mantras and pouring ghee. We used to have in the four corners of the fire. What would you call it? Where the fire sacrifices would be performed. We have a cloth there, and there's four corners. So we would have in each corner, in addition to the priest, we would have a devotee sitting there, Brahmin-initiated devotees traditionally, and they were sitting there and they were chanting. Um, we would usually read. Well, we would usually read something. So someone would be reading the verses of the Bhagavad Gita. Someone would be reading the verses of Srimad-bhagavatam. Someone would be reading the verses from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Someone else maybe from the Sri Upanishad, like that. And the priest was, of course, chanting the mantras and saying Swaha, 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 like that. So this practice is not something new. This practice in the Abhishek and in the fire sacrifice is not something recently created. It's not something that Srila Prabhupada created. Srila Prabhupada always said again and again and again that he said I've not given anything new. I've not created anything. I'm simply trying to remember, or not remember, but give you, he said does. I'm just trying to tell you and give you what I have heard from my spiritual master, what I've gotten from the previous acharyas. This is what I'm teaching you. And Srila Prabhupada would always emphasize that was the reason that he was successful. He didn't make up anything. He didn't make up anything. He gave everything. Whatever he taught us, whatever principles he knew, he learned. That's what he gave to us. He did not create new principles. Now, sometimes spiritual master might, especially the big acharyas, may take the essence of those instructions and keep them, and make small adjustments, because the world's always changing, people are always changing, time and circumstances there's always changes, differences. So a preacher has to make some adjustments according to who they're teaching. Just like in the Christian path, Jesus said that he taught many things, very good things. But he said ultimately that there is so much more to teach you, so much more to tell you, but you cannot bear to hear it. You cannot bear to hear it, because they could hardly understand the basic principles, very basic principles that he taught to them. But so what to speak of if he had taught about God in his original form, the blue cowherd boy, and what God actually is doing in the spiritual world, and all the different incarnations and how things were created. So he didn't teach those things. He taught very simple, but then other acharyas taught more. These are the so this is the position of the spiritual masters. This is the position, especially of the acharyas. But they don't change. They never change the principles. In fact, in any religion, what's the actual principles that are being taught? We have our four regulative principles. So the actual original teachings by any of the great acharyas in those lines, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, and when he was teaching, and so on, all those original principles, or those original teachings, they taught the basic principles, these four regulative principles that we follow. In our line too, every acharya emphasized you've got to, no eating meat, no illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling. These are general principles that in spiritual life you must follow these principles. Um, and then there was some room. There was some room for slight adjustments. In India, at least previous to Srila Prabhupada, ashrams didn't have women in the ashrams. They didn't. And the women were learning from their husbands, who hopefully had been previously trained up in brahmachari life, and would pass on that knowledge to the wife when they got married. But they didn't traditionally have women in the ashrams, and so on. So the general principle, the Srila Prabhupada allowed it because America's a special place. The Western countries are a special place. So if Srila Prabhupada didn't make some adjustments like that, then he might not have gotten many followers. But at the same time, no illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling, and no eating meat. So there were certain adjustments under certain strict conditions. This is what Srila Prabhupada taught us. And purport here, Srila Prabhupada says, Mother Lakshmi is Nashi Shigonatai, Shishi Radha Vrajabihari, Jagannath, Balaram, Lady Subhadra, Lord Shigani, Prahlad Maharaj, Ki Jai. It says that she is known as Sati, the supremely chaste. So yes, because Mother Lakshmi, she's only devoted to Lord Narayan or to Lord Vishnu, the same, different names. Or Krishna is only devoted to Radharani. Well, actually all the gopis, but especially Radharani. And Radharani is only devoted to Krishna. You never hear about Radharani being attracted to any other young men in Vrindavan. In fact, it was if the gopis in Vrindavan, who are all goddesses of fortune, actually, they're all expansions of goddess of fortune. Those gopis in Vrindavan, if they had their choice, they would have all married Krishna. In fact, if the inhabitants of Vrindavan had a choice, they would have all had their daughters all marry Krishna, because nobody was more qualified than Krishna. But it's described in the Gopal Champu, I believe was the name of the book, by Srila Jiva Goswami. This whole pastime is described, and I can't go into all the details. It's a short class, but although everyone was thinking, okay, Krishna has to marry all of our daughters because our daughters are so qualified, and Krishna's the only one who's actually qualified for them. But Gargamuni, who was the family priest in Vrindavan at that time, he said, no, this is not. You cannot do this because then Krishna will become very well. Everyone will hear about Krishna, who has thousands of wives, and Kamsa. His argument was that Kamsa, who was a demoniac person, would find out, and who was trying to find Krishna to kill him, that he would try to kill Krishna because he wouldn't be able to hide. That was his argument. So your daughters cannot marry Krishna. But anyway, they're from their childhood, they all wanted to marry Krishna. They had a natural, because they were actually all eternally as servants of Krishna. They eternally have that conjugal relationship with Krishna. So even as little tiny girls, they had that feeling already. But it wasn't possible. So in Krishna's pastimes, the gopis, for the most part, are married to somebody, others, but they are going out during the night and enjoying with Krishna. Anyway, this is all described. Usually, these things are not talked about too much because unless one is very advanced in spiritual life, and they hear these things, then it sounds as though Krishna was just some ordinary lusty person, and this is all material activity, but it's not material activity. The relationship between Krishna and the gopis, who are all expansions of the goddess of fortune, or actually all goddesses of fortune themselves, they are those relationships are pure. The gopis are there's no lust, actual lust. Their mood is only, I will do whatever I can, including playing with Krishna as his girlfriend, just to please Krishna. In the material world, no relationship is done just so that I can please someone else. It's not possible. And the only place that works is in the spiritual world or on the pure spiritual platform, when the devotee is just thinking, I want to give everything and please just Krishna. So the gopis are always thinking about just pleasing Krishna. In fact, Krishna's cowherd boyfriends were only thinking about pleasing him. And the inhabitants of the men and the women in Vrindavan, they also were, their real purpose in life was just to please Krishna. That was Krishna, because he's the supreme. Well, they don't even know he was God, but he was so attractive to everyone, like that. And we also constitutionally have some loving relationship with Krishna, and in due course of time we will realize what that is and be reinstituted into that relationship. And then at that point we will feel completely satisfied. It's said that we talk about the rasas, the servitorship rasa, the friendship rasa, the parental rasa, and the conjugal rasa. We hear about these rasas, and it is described that the conjugal rasa is the highest, but it's only considered highest in that it includes the relationships, all the other relationships. For example, someone may be a servant of Krishna. It's very nice. But if you're a friend, so you have an intimate relationship, but you're also a servant because you're always thinking about how to serve Krishna. You're serving. You're trying to serve Krishna in the capacity of being his friend, or you're trying to serve him in the capacity of assisting him in herding the cows. If that, and then if one has a parental relationship, then they're also serving. They also have a very intimate relationship with Krishna, and they also have, it's a higher position because they are actually transcendentally, they're in a superior position. Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, they can tell Krishna, hey, you were very naughty today. You gotta stop going out and stealing that butter from the gopis' houses. like that. So it's a higher position. And then the conjugal relationship includes those qualities of everyone. Even the gopis are sometimes uh, chastising Krishna for something in their loving relationship. So the conjugal relationship includes all the others. Therefore, it's considered the highest. But whatever one's relationship is, and we all have, by our spiritual nature, we all have some relationship, which we don't know what that is yet. I don't know what mine is anyway. But that we have some relationship with Krishna, and whatever that eternal constitutional position is, we are totally satisfied. We're not. It's not that we're. It's not that Mother Yashoda, who's Krishna's mother, is thinking, oh, relationship with the gopis is higher relationship, so therefore, I want to have a conjugal relationship. I don't want to be the mother. No, but Mother Yashoda is eternally Krishna's mother, and she cannot even imagine being anything but Krishna's mother. Those who are cowherd boys are eternally Krishna's cowherd boyfriends, and they don't think, oh, I want to become a gopi one day. All right, they're not thinking like that. They're completely satisfied with the position they have. Their eternal rasa like that. So we should be confident that when our time comes, when we come to that higher realization, when we've been reinstated in our eternal relationship with Krishna, we should not be worried that, oh well, maybe I'll be put into the position of a of a of a of a cowherd boy, and I actually wanted to be something else. No, whatever position we have will be our natural position, and we'll be very, very satisfied with that. Okay. Um, we got 5 minutes. Any questions? No? Let me just check, make sure no one else has come with a question. No questions. Okay, so then we'll end here for now. Tomorrow we'll be reading Srila Prabhupada Nectar. So Srila Prabhupada ki jai.